ಹಲೋ ಎವ್ರಿವಾನ್, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಾನು ಮಣಿ ಶ್ರೀನಿವಾಸ್. ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅಕ್ಕ ಆರೋಗ್ಯಧಾಮ ಮೆಡಿಟೇಷನ್ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಈ ವಾರದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಆಧಾರದ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಕಳೆದ ವಾರ ನಾವು ಸುಪ್ರಿಯಾ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅವರಿಂದ. ಇವತ್ತು ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ ಜೊತೆ ಸುಪ್ರಿಯಾ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ತಡ ಮಾಡದೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋಣ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕಳೆದ ವಾರದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಅಕ್ಕ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನಲ್ ಹೋಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ವೀಕ್ಷಿಸಬಹುದು. ವಾಸು ಅವರೇ, ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಇವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರ, ಹೋದ ವಾರದಿಂದ ನಾವು 3 ವಾರದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಕುಟುಂಬದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಆರೈಕೆ, ಭಾವನೆಗಳ ಸಮತೋಲನ ಮತ್ತು ಸಕಾರಾತ್ಮಕ ನಡವಳಿಕೆ ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ವಿ ಆರ್ ವಾಚಿಂಗ್, ವಿ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ಎ 3-week program that talks about self-care, positivity and emotional balance. It's arranged by Supriya Reddy ಅವರು. So last week we learned about stress to de-stress. So it's a very successful event. About 300 people have watched it in YouTube. We got a lot of positive feedback. So this week we're going to talk about positivity. How we're going to foster positivity mindset in the family. It's a very interesting topic. Supriya Reddy will going to talk about this topic in detail. Before we go there, we'll just show a couple of recommended books. We shared it last week in the Facebook page also. These will help us to parent in a compassionate fashion, in a conscious fashion. Many times we learn parenting unconsciously from what our parents have done. So they were in India in a different time frame, different place. Now these techniques will tell us how to consciously learn it. Nobody taught us how to do parenting. So this is in essence an education how to do conscious parenting. This is a very powerful book by Marshall Rosenberg. We'll talk a little bit more next week. And this is another book about going to college. So this is a very powerful book. Going to in a particular college need not be as important as going to getting a good education. And this is another book on conscious parenting. It's a very nice book as well. Another book on scream-free parenting. We all love to have this. So to be in a calm and collected fashion when we are having to react with our children. So these are very nice books. So with this, I will hand over to Supriya Reddy avaru and we'll start going through the fostering positivity. Over to you, Supriya Reddy avaru.
Thank you, Vasu Avare, and Ellarigu Namaskara. And welcome to our second session, Fostering Positivity, Self-Care Through Heartfulness. So, as usual, before we begin any session, we'll check into how we're feeling this morning. So if we could kindly go into the feelings chart, please. Give them a minute to pull it up. Okay, so let's connect within to our hearts and pick a feeling or a couple of feelings from the chart. See how we're feeling this morning. See if anything resonates with us, and feel free to share on the chat box. Would anyone like to share? You could go ahead and unmute as well and share how you're feeling. Eager and curious. Thank you. Nice. All right. So the reason we do this activity, anxiety, good to know. So we'll definitely address that during our session, and we'll be sharing some wonderful tools to deal with anxiety as well. So anyone else before we move on? Okay. So this is just a quick check-in activity that we do with our students when we do the program in schools and workshop with teens. And even for us as parents, this is an activity that helps us tune into ourselves and become aware of our feelings. And once we know how we're feeling, for example, someone mentioned that they were feeling anxious. So once we know that we're feeling anxious, we can pick a tool from our self-care toolkit and use it to get away from that anxiety and come to a balanced state of mind. So that's why I really like this chart. And we always start with this activity for that reason. Over to the next slide, please. So before we get into our session, I'd like all of you to get a notepad and a pen, please, because we'll be doing a fun activity together. So if you could just take a moment to grab a notepad, that'll be great. Awesome. So our workshop is going to be divided into two parts. The first part, we'll talk about the topic, introduce the topic, discuss about it a little bit. And the second part, we'll have a practical workshop where I'll be sharing two wonderful and practical tools that we can add to our self-care toolkit. Over to the next slide, please. Before we begin, I'd like to share a very inspiring quote that really resonates with me. And I'd like you to take a moment to read it and just reflect on its meaning for a couple of minutes. I'm going to go ahead and read it aloud as well. What is the difference between an obstacle and an opportunity? Our attitude towards it. Every opportunity has a difficult. Sorry, I'm not able to see. Every opportunity has a difficulty, and every difficulty has an opportunity. There's a typo here. It's difficulty. Ajay Sitlo Baxter. So if anyone would like to share how they feel when they reflect on this quote, then feel free to share your thoughts about it. Someone says that they agree with this quote. Yes. Have a positive mindset. Absolutely. Totally agree. Yes. Thank you for sharing. So I really like this quote because that's how I look at it. Difficulty. Let's see. Yes, absolutely. So it's all about our attitude. No matter what the situation, it's our attitude that determines how we handle that particular situation, right? Just wanted to start with this wonderful quote. Over to the next slide, please. So what we'll be covering today, a couple of statistics on positivity, a mind mapping activity. We'll talk about having a positive mindset and why it's important. We'll do a practical activity where we'll do some guided affirmations and breathing together. And as usual, we'll look at some resources before we end our session. Over to the next slide, please. To the next slide, please. So what exactly does fostering positivity mean? So it's fostering positivity is nothing but having a mindset that helps us create a sense of optimism and encourage ourselves to handle any situation in a better way. And positive affirmations are statements and phrases that help us become empowered and help support us to get through any situation in a very positive way. So by practicing self-affirmation activities, we can view different aspects of ourselves in a better way. And also we're able to adjust to any new situation and handle it in a better manner as well. So let's look at some research that has been done in this area. The next slide, please. So there was a study that was done on people who use positive affirmations, and they found that when they did the MRI scans on those folks that were in the study, they found that certain areas of the brain lit up. If you can see in the slide, you can see the areas of the brain that are lit up in yellow color. And they found that the neural pathways were increased and the brain usage in that area was also greater. All this just by using positive affirmations. Isn't that fascinating? I'm also going to be sharing the link to this article so that you can read it later. Let's take a look at another study, please. In a study conducted at the University of California at Santa Cruz, the Palo Alto Research Center and Computer Science Department, they found that people who were using positive affirmations on a daily basis were able to achieve their goals versus those who didn't use positive affirmations. So this is also a very interesting study, and I'll be sharing the link with you as well. So although there's been a lot of research done in this area of positive psychology, growth mindset, I just picked 2 research articles to share with you to show you the effect of how a simple activity of doing few positive affirmations can create such a great change, not only in our neural pathways, but also help us achieve our goals on a daily basis. So now let's go into our practical activity where I'll be walking through some positive, heartful affirmations. So these positive phrases help us challenge negative or unhelpful thought and help us feel more positive very quickly. And you'll notice that when we do this activity together. Over to the next slide, please. So what I'll be doing is we'll be sitting with our eyes closed. And we'll tune into the stillness of our hearts. And when we do that, we deepen our internal connection and strengthen the positivity, compassion, and empathy, love that we already have within our own hearts. So let's get ready for our activity. Over to the next slide, please. So I invite all of you to sit comfortably and to turn off any notifications. I'm going to say a few affirmations. And as I say them, please feel free to reflect on the meaning of the affirmation. You can softly repeat it to yourself or silently say it in your mind. So let's get started. Please sit comfortably with your eyes very softly and very gently closed. As I say this affirmation, feel the meaning of it in your heart. I am happy, joyful, and grateful for all of my life's experiences. I'll repeat it. I'm happy, joyful, and grateful for all of my life's experiences. I am clear, calm, and confident with my words and actions. I'll repeat it. I'm clear, calm, and confident with my words and actions. I'm balanced. I'm centered. I'm relaxed. I'm connected within my heart. I'm becoming more empathetic, compassionate, and loving. I'm genuine in my thinking. I'm developing correct thinking, clear understanding, and an honest approach to life. I feel connected to everyone and everything around me. I feel connected to everyone and everything around me. Let's take a moment to allow the meaning of these words to resonate with our own hearts. Whenever you're ready, then gently open your eyes and come back to the present moment. How does that feel? Would anyone like to share? Lightness. Yes, me too. Thank you for sharing. Relaxing and calming. Yes, thank you for sharing. Calm. Don't want to open my eyes. Yeah, me too. More relaxed compared to morning. Yes. So this is a really wonderful tool to help us feel positive very quickly. So when we do this activity with the kids, they love it. I mean, I'm talking about little kids. It can be done as a family activity. Yes, absolutely. I was just going to come to that. So recently I was working with a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. Yes, yeah, calm. Got one more answer. Yeah. So what I do is when I work with kids, I asked them to make up their own affirmations. For example, there was this little kid who was feeling a bit, was worried about his exam. So I told him, I said, just say, I'm confident, I'm intelligent, whatever you want to say, because he was feeling a bit low and very worried about his exam, not very confident. And he was beginning to doubt whether he was smart enough. So I just told him, just make up your own affirmations, get a post-it, write your affirmation, stick them in the mirror, and then just repeat them at night before you sleep and wake up in the morning and say these affirmations again. And he came back and told me that he did very well in his exam. I have a lot of feedback from kids, and parents are asking me to share it with them as well. So we have a lot of parents from our Heartful Schools program who love this particular Heartful affirmation activity, and they're using these affirmations and they're making up their own affirmations as well. And I personally have benefited a lot from these affirmations. I have my own set of affirmations, and I would really invite you to use this simple tool to shift our thinking and make it a habit. So when we make it a habit, it comes naturally to us when we're going through a difficult situation. So, shall we move on to the next slide, please? There is a question. Should we really continuously worry in our minds when we do this affirmation? Okay. No, so we'll come to this question. We'll take question and answer later. That's a very good thought. We'll come to that. So now, if you could all get your notepads and pens ready, we're going to start our practical activity. So we're going to talk a little bit about mind mapping. So mind mapping is a tool that helps us organize our thoughts. Next slide, please. Mind mapping has a lot of benefits. It can help us plan out our goals and things you'd like to accomplish. It helps us relax by organizing our thoughts. We are able to ease our tensions and we feel more relaxed when we see it on paper. It also increases productivity and creativity. And mind mapping can be used in different situations. Like today, we're going to use this technique in fostering positivity. So let's go to the next slide, please. So here's an example. So we can take our notepad and go to the center of the page, and we can write our name down vertically. For example, on this slide, the name is John. Under fostering positivity, we have John written down vertically. And they've used one word to describe. J is for joy, O is for optimistic, H is for heartful, N is for noble. So what we're going to do is we're all going to write down our names on our notepad vertically and write one attribute, one positive attribute that you can think of against each letter. Let's do that. Let's take a few minutes to do that. So we'll take our notepad, write down our name vertically, and against each letter of our name, we'll write down a positive attribute for ourselves. So just as John for John, J is for joy, O is for optimistic, H is for heartful, N is for noble. So let's do that. Let's give ourselves a few minutes to do that. Anyone has finished doing their activity, you can share. How did it feel when you did this activity?
Yeah, discovering some positive things about our name.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So when I was doing it for myself, I couldn't find a word for why, It took me some time. The certain alphabets, it's hard to come up. A new perspective, yes. It's a really fun activity. So once we do that for ourselves, we could start with our family members. For example, on this chart, we have mom. So you can write your mom's name. You can have your child do it, or we could do it with our, put our child's name. And these are some examples. Mom, comforting, caring, supportive, creative. Then we have dad here, because we do this activity with students. We have it as mom and dad, but we can even do it with our kids and other family members. Dad, intelligent, entertaining, hardworking. Brother, sister, funny, adventurous, clever, friend, pet even. So we can write all these down and make a nice chart and put it in our room. So this helps us not only to look at ourselves in a positive way, develop a positive mindset towards ourselves, but also towards others. Look for the positive qualities in others as well. And this is a great habit that we can cultivate in our kids, to see the good in ourselves first, and then in everyone around us, and then in every situation, whether it's an obstacle or an opportunity. So I really love this mind mapping activity, and when we do it with the students, they absolutely love it. If you could go to the next slide, please. There's another way you can do this activity, a different chart that you could use, just to give you some other ideas here. So there is a very important need for us to identify how we feel and change our mindset to find positivity in every situation, because this will help us become a better version of ourselves, right? Over to the next slide, please. So if we look at our thoughts as if they were plants, like if you look at the seed, it needs the right amount of sunshine, water for it to grow. In the same way, our thoughts, if you could go to the next slide, please, need nourishment in order for us to have a better way of thinking and help us live a better life. So positive thoughts, if you can equate them to plants, right? We can help positive thoughts grow by cultivating them, by nourishing them with these positive affirmations. Negative thoughts, on the other hand, are like weeds. You don't give them any attention. So the same way, when we continue to use these positive affirmations, make it into a habit, we're able to use them whenever we need them. They're there, right there, because we've already trained our mind to use them on a daily basis. So this was just an example as to why it's important to cultivate this habit and make our thinking more positive on a daily basis. Over to the next slide, please. So whenever we're in a bad situation, we tend to think, why is this happening to me, right? Instead of this, there is a different way we can approach a situation. Can we go to the next slide, please? We can train ourselves to think, why is this happening for me instead of to me? It's just a wonderful thought. I'll just give you a second to take a look at the slide again and think about it. Over to the next slide, please. So there's a lot of positive outcome to creating this habit of thinking positively. There's less thought pollution. We have more time for relaxing, more me time. We give more space to learn something new. We have more family time, more positive quality family time. We'll be able to spend time in nature, appreciate nature. Also, we feel free to pick up hobbies and learn new things because our mind is not preoccupied with tension and anxiety. So just to share a few positive outcomes. Over to the next slide, please. So sometimes, no matter what, we are faced with challenging situations. So in times like those, it helps to create a T chart. So if you look here on the left, you can write down, what am I currently struggling with? Here are some examples. I'm feeling lonely, miss my friends. And on the right is a solution that I can come up with. For example, if I'm feeling lonely and miss my friends, I can FaceTime them or video chat with them. Then let's go back to the left side of the chart. I want to stay active, but I can't play any sports. On the right, the solution, I can do home workouts that will make me stronger for the upcoming season. Again, on the left-hand side, it says, I'm struggling with finding positivity in the world today. On the right-hand side, try looking within yourself for inspiration and self-support. So I really like this T chart, and we encourage students to write down whatever it is that they're struggling with and think of ways to come up with this solution so that this can help them develop a growth mindset and give them an ability to look within and find a solution to overcoming these challenging situations. So over to the next slide, please. So now we'll go to a different tool from our Heartful Schools toolkit, which is breathing with awareness of purpose. So what we'll do is we'll sit down comfortably with our eyes closed, and we'll breathe in with awareness. So what I'll be doing is, if you could go to the next slide, please. I'll be saying a few words as we breathe. So when we breathe in, let's make sure that we take a deep breath, like so. And we breathe out. When we breathe in, it should be longer. And when we breathe out, it can be faster and a shorter version. So let's breathe in. So the first step when we breathe in is to think of breathing in what is good, needed, and positive for our own self-improvement. And when we breathe out, let's think to ourselves that we're breathing out what is good for others and the betterment of the global community. So let's get started. So let's breathe in. And as we breathe in, you can hear the words as I say them, talk about how we felt about this activity later. So let's get started. So let's sit comfortably. and close our eyes. Let's take a long, deep breath and breathe in what's good for me. And as you breathe out what's good for everyone. One more time. Breathe in what's good for me. Breathe out what's good for everyone. Let's take a deep breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now, let's breathe in positivity. Breathe out optimism. Again, let's breathe in positivity and breathe out optimism. Breathe in appreciation. Breathe out joy. Breathe in appreciation. Breathe out joy. Breathe in compassion. Breathe out love. Breathe in compassion. Breathe out love. So we're breathing in what is good, needed, and positive for our own self-improvement. And we're breathing out what is good for others and for the betterment of the global community. Let's take a few minutes to remain grounded. And notice the feeling of lightness you feel within. Would anyone like to share how you feel now? Sense of ease. Thank you for sharing. Like detoxing. True. So this is a wonderful tool, very quick. Can create a shift in our thinking right away. Just take a few moments. Rejuvenating. Go to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. So thank you for joining me today. And as I had mentioned before, we have a few resources. If you could access these affirmations and breathing with awareness of purpose, we'll be sharing the resources again with you. Over to you. So, would anyone like to share their thoughts?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, we never realized that these are actually quite simple techniques, but make so much of a difference when we actually do it. So yes, definitely. Thanks for sharing these and introducing, these techniques. I think it's definitely doable with the kids as well. We should actually make this a habit every day.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, yeah. There was a question in the chat earlier. This was, should we continuously worry in our minds when we do this affirmation? So this is really something that we can do on a daily basis so that it becomes a habit. So when it becomes a habit, and when we're worried or when we're anxious, we can immediately use this tool of affirming to ourselves. For example, I gave you the example of this little kid who was feeling anxious. Even with me, this whole week, I haven't been feeling good. My health was down a little bit. So I use these positive affirmations every day, and I could see the difference. But this is something I've been doing for a long time. So it was a really good tool that I used, and it helped me. So I hope that answers your question. Question in the chat box.
Yeah, I have a comment to make. I think on a similar note, whenever you get an anxiety provoking thought, and if you become aware of it, you can cancel that thought and reinsert a positive thought whenever you want, and you can immediately see that anxiety and vicious cycle get stopped.
Absolutely. So especially, I love the affirmation which says, I'm calm. Just that one line, I'm calm, can make a huge difference. So here's a question. I'm 14 years old. How does this help me in my studies? It's a very good question. So you can make up your own affirmations. For example, like I gave you the example of the student, right? So you can take a Post-it, write down, I am confident. I am focused. That's another wonderful phrase. Just a simple line, I am focused. Whenever you feel that, you feel distracted by thoughts, I am clear in my thinking. Simple affirmations that you can make up for yourself can really help rewire your thought process and help you feel more confident and focused. And that's how it could help you with your studies. So please try it out and give us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you. So what happens with us is we tend to become very anxious whenever we have, not only with difficult situations, but even with studies, right? Like the 14-year-old mentioned. So our brains are wired to think negatively, right? The first thought that comes up is worry. When it's an exam for students or any difficult situation. So from a young age, if we can teach kids to think positively and show them the research behind it as actual evidence with the brain scans and the statistics, that this actually works. It helps rewire your brain and it helps you think better, right? And also teaches children to have a positive self-talk, like to talk to themselves positive. I think that is a very powerful tool that we can give them from a young age. And we have a lot of students, we tell them to do this before you sleep, especially when we do these affirmations right before you sleep. The mind picks up, the subconscious mind is very active. Go to sleep. That's why we do our prayers and everything right before we sleep, right? So we can do these positive affirmations at night before we sleep. And even when we wake up first thing in the morning, when mind is very fresh, and we can give ourselves these positive suggestions and positive affirmations and start our day in a very positive way. So these are some excellent habits that kids can develop from a young age. And we can do it too. I learned this concept very late in life, but I have made it a habit on a daily basis, and it has really helped me.
And the thing is, that's so simple, it's deceptively simple. We think that, so simple it must not be effective, but it's opposite is true. So it's
In fact, whenever I do any meditation session, especially with students and young people, I start off with the affirmations. I don't even talk about anything. Most of my sessions, I start with the breathing and the affirmations. And then we go into the discussion part of it. So it really helps us become very centered right away. You can do both of them together. You can do the breathing first and then the affirmations. So it only takes a few minutes, doesn't take too long. And the app, the Heartbot app, has the affirmations and the breathing with awareness of purpose. So you could just play it on the app or go to the school's website. We'll share the link again.
Which is the app you're talking about?
It's called Heartbot.
Heartbot?
Yes. So next week.
Can you put it in the chat?
Yeah, I'm doing that. Heartbot. It's available only on iOS devices though.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if you go to Heartful Schools, I'm going to put it on the chat, or if we could just show them the website, maybe, Vasu Agare. There's a question here. Do you have programs aimed at improving focus and concentration for students? If you can, student ask me that question. Yes. Can you give me 1 minute, please? If you could kindly pull up the website called Heartful Schools. So if we go to Heartfulness Institute and look under education, we'll find the website, and you could find all these affirmations, the script and the audio of it as well. So we'll share that with you in a moment. And the question, so we don't have anything specific one-on-one sessions for students, but these relaxation techniques and the affirmations, breathing with awareness of purpose, all these help us become more focused. So, and help with concentration as well. Hope that answered your question. Yeah. So this is our website. So if you could go down, all the way down, please. Audio section. If you could go down, please. All the way. Okay. So here you can see we have the relaxation that we did last week. So you could click on that. We have a male version, female version. We have the script as well if you go down. Actually, if you could go back up a little bit, please, I'll just show you the affirmations and the breathing with awareness. The Heartful Affirmations are here. So if you can click on this, it'll say read more. You can see the script. So you could just take a printout even.
Okay, the website seems to be a little bit slow.
Yeah.
It's coming up. Yeah, there it is.
It's all here.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's all readily available for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And then if we can go to the breathing with awareness of purpose as well. So you can click on the male audio, maybe for example, we can,
Okay.
for a second, we can hear it.
Breathing with awareness and purpose. This is a technique intended to relax the body and stimulate
music
the
as well.
positive attributes of the heart.
So just to give you a sample of all the information is here. All you need to do is go to the website and we'll send you the link to the website as well. You can just click on it and then just listen to the audio, read the script, have the script with you, and just make it a habit of doing this on a daily basis. And that's the key, you know.
Yeah.
If you keep doing it, it becomes a habit and then it's there when we need it. You know, I always think of this example, you know, we teach kids to dial 911, right? We keep telling them all the time, and everyone, right? Dial 911 if there's an emergency. And little kids, you know, you hear on the news, little kids have called 911 to save a grandparent or someone at home needing medical attention. They know it because they've been taught through repetition. And I love that example because when you teach these habits, these are something that they can learn from a young age and it'll help them tremendously their whole life. Because children's minds are so receptive. And when we teach them how to think positively, how to talk to themselves positively, look at the good in themselves, look at the good in others, use a situation, look at a situation as an opportunity. These are all very powerful techniques, simple things that we can teach our kids. And we can do this as a family as well.
Any other questions from anybody? So they're so easy to do, I think so. And then we can do this family activity. These are some of the key takeaways that we can take from today.
Yeah, a lot of good information, and yeah, thanks for sharing this. We should definitely. This is quite like this will definitely come in handy. We'll definitely go through this, and the kids should definitely work on this. Actually, I think it will definitely help them.
How to reduce stress work is a question here. So for the person who asked about stress, you could listen to the relaxation video. Also, I could do a quick left nostril breathing technique. So what we can do is we can stop sharing. So someone had asked about stress. So let's do this really quickly. We have 2 minutes. I think we have 4 minutes left. So what we can do is close the right nostril and breathe in and out through the left nostril. This is a very quick way. You can do this 10 times. This is a very quick way to relieve ourselves of anxiety and help us manage our stress in a better way. Just to quickly share, since the question just came up, I thought I'll quickly share something. You're welcome.
We have to breathe through left nostril or
Breathe in and out only through the left nostril. So
only through left?
It's again a very simple and a very powerful technique.
just breathing, simple
Yeah.
breathing techniques. All these are small tips that can help us feel good very quickly.
Yeah,
Thank you.
according to yoga, the left nostril controls the parasympathetic nervous system or the relaxation nervous system in the body. So it's very, very effective. You can also do alternate nostril breathing. That's also another relaxing thing. If you do left nostril breathing for 1 minute, alternate nostril breathing for another minute, your body will be very, very relaxed very quickly. So I tell people, even if you have a gap between meetings, in between meetings you have 5-minute break, you do these two things, you'll be so much relaxed. So these are quick tips for quick relaxation during the day.
Almost, pranayama, right? Basically,
Pranayama. Yes, these are pranayamas. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity, so if left is like that, then what is the right use?
Right is called Surya Nadi. Right nostril is active during the day. Even if you like, let's do another experiment.
Yeah.
If you put your hand against the nose. For most people during the day, right nostril will be stronger. After 10 or 11 p.m. in the night, if you do the same thing again, your left nostril will be stronger. So at night time, the left nostril will be stronger because we are trying to go to sleep and relax. So by breathing only through the left nostril, we are again encouraging or enhancing the relaxation capability in the body.
So to answer your question, if you want to feel energized, you breathe in through the right nostrils. So you
Okay.
can try.
That's what I thought. In case if you're feeling sleepy,
Sleepy, exactly.
you
If you need, yeah. Instead of coffee, you can do this. Instead of drinking coffee, this is another way.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Especially for kids, students, they get very tired when they're studying. So I encourage them to do the right nostril. Just give them tips to use whenever, they need, whatever they need at that particular time.
That's very good to know.
Yeah. Another tip, another reading material that we want to talk about, she talked about thoughts being as, gardens and, as weeds, negative thoughts you can remove, like a gardener would remove the negative thoughts. These concepts are covered mostly more in elaborate fashion in the book called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. It's available free of cost in Gutenberg. You can buy it also in book form, but its PDF file is available free in the internet. So some of the concepts he talks about is exactly the same. So your thoughts determine your outcomes. You are the master of your thoughts. And the mastery improves with practice. These are some of the themes in the book. I'm just running through them quickly. Don't judge others by their circumstances. Focus on changing yourself. Create a clear vision and ideal for success. So those are some of the themes in that book. It's a very powerful book. It's a small book, it's about 200 to 50 pages. I suggest, you can read it to, further these concepts.
As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, right?
James Allen, yes, yeah. It's simple to do, free of cost for everybody. So one more, right on the money. So next week, we'll talk about goal setting and harmonious communications, right, Supriya? Any other thing you want to cover next week?
And we'll be talking a little bit about heartfulness, how to talk to ourselves positively and with everyone else. So we'll wrap up our session next week. And, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, Supriya. Like it was really, really good. Wonderful presentation. Very helpful tips and simple and helpful. Yes, thank you so much. And thank you everybody. ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ತುಂಬಾ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಇದನ್ನ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಕ್ಕ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನಲ್ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಾಕಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ನೋಡಬಹುದು. ಮುಂದಿನ ಶನಿವಾರ ಇದೇ ಟೈಮ್ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ.
Thank you, Supriya. Thank you, Asura.
Namaskar.